There are several 8,000ers on our planet which are much more dangerous and challenging than Everest. And the most impregnable of them is located just behind my back. It is called K2, and it is 8,611 meters high, the mountain of mountains. Beautiful views, snowy slopes, and a sense of freedom are only one side of the coin. The other one is sheer cliffs, avalanches, snowstorms, rock falls, and suffocating hypoxia. K2 is the northernmost 8,000er in the world. It is called a wild mountain because it is extremely difficult to climb it. And it rightfully claims the title of the most difficult peak in the world. For the first time in history, the largest Russian expedition is setting off for K2, and the bulk of the participants are not professional climbers. All of them have already climbed 8,000ers. Many of them have successfully climbed Everest. But as a great mountaineer, Reinhold Messner said climbing Everest will seem like a walk in the park to them in comparison with K2. They are going to experience the most dangerous journey in their lives. A film crew of 6 people, a presenter, a film director, and 4 cameramen will closely follow their progress. Moreover, 2 high-altitude cameramen will shoot every step of each climber, even if it turns out to be last step. The expedition is led by 2 guides who have been taking people to the mountains for more than a quarter of a century. But this is their first time on this one. And this is a risk that absolutely everyone realizes. We will tell you why K2 and not Everest is a cherished dream of any mountaineer, and how altitude changes people. The mountain of all mountains is the best place on Earth to test your altitude gene.
Well, I call it the abnormal condition when people want to climb up. 5.5 billion people are absolutely normal. They live, work, love their families and their children. But we are utterly abnormal people, as we abandon everything we have down on the plain and continuously strive to climb these heights.
Alexander Abramov is the leader of the expedition. He is a master of sports and the champion of the USSR in mountaineering. He has conquered the summits of 8,000ers 16 times, 12 of which was Everest. He is one of the founders of commercial mountaineering in Russia. More than 250 people have climbed one of the highest mountains on Earth under his guidance. Now our team trusts him with our lives on the way to the summit of K2.
Some people who had Elbrus and Kilimanjaro under their belts wanted to join us. Some of them even climbed Aconcagua, but none of them conquered 8,000ers. And I turned them down inasmuch as this most difficult mountain in the world requires a very strong and experienced team.
Sergei Bogomolov is the most experienced member of the team. He is 72 years old. He has climbed the summits of all 8,000ers except K2. It is going to be his 5th attempt, and if he succeeds, he will become the first Russian to collect the crown of the Earth. This title is given to those who has managed to climb all 14 8,000ers on our planet. Only 47 climbers have received the crown of the Earth so far. There are no Russians among them yet.
I don't know what to do if I fail this attempt. And I don't know the answer to this question because I know how painfully I struggled to climb the summit during my previous attempts. I am eager to try again and conquer this summit.
K2 is located in Pakistan in the Gilgit-Baltistan region. It is a part of the Kashmir territory and is constantly claimed by India, Pakistan, and China. So the documents are carefully checked by the Pakistani military. We spend 3 days in an anxious waiting in the town of Skardu. But actually it's not really long because some expeditions got stuck here for a whole week. But we had some time to buy the necessary things and equipment, and strangely enough, to buy something that you would never think of when preparing for a high-altitude expedition: ordinary umbrellas, a real shelter from the scorching sun and torrential rains. The hike to the base camp will start in a tiny town of Askol, but it still takes 8 hours to get there by car along a very steep and winding serpentine. We had to get out of cars in most dangerous places, as there are no bridges across most of the rivers, and a rapid current could easily sweep our cars away. Askol is the last place of human civilization and a place where the Karakoram begins, a majestic mountain range, the second highest one on Earth. Here we met with the porters, Pakistani porters who will carry all our stuff to the base camp. It weighs more than 5 tons. A journey of 100 kilometers long with cliffs and rocks is ahead of us. Here you will not find a single mountaineering shelter because this is not Nepal with its developed tourist infrastructure. A couple of days ago, the bridge over the Braldu River was swept away, and we had to wade across the river over slippery rocks and freezing cold water, just like the first climbers of K2 more than 100 years ago.
My feet are really cold as if it were winter.
Further on, our route runs along one of the largest non-polar glaciers in the world, Baltoro. It's 62 kilometers long, and beneath our feet there are 750 meters of ice and rocks. It will take us 3 days to get to the base camp. Glacier trekking is quite different from the usual one. Firstly, there is no permanent trail. The glacier moves and the trail changes every year. Secondly, climbing up the crumbling rocks is like taking an escalator up, with the escalator going down. But when you see Broad Peak, Masherbrum, Gasherbrum, and magnificent K2, you'll realize it was worth it. Why do all mountains have beautiful names and K2 does not have one? The fact is that all the peaks of the Karakoram Range were mapped back in 1856. British explorers gave them code names using letter K, like K1, K2, and so on. Letter K stood for Karakoram. After some time, they were renamed for the local ones. But sometimes they were too complicated for European pronunciation, and the peaks were given other names. Only K2 became an exception. Despite its height, the top of the mountain was not visible from any nearby village, and the locals simply did not know about its existence. It is symbolic that K2 turned out to be the second both in order and in height. By the way, in the Soviet Union, another name of the mountain was widespread, the Chinese one, Chogori, which means big mountain. K2 is 237 meters lower than Everest. and it would be logical to assume that climbing it would be easier. But it is just quite the opposite.
This mountain is much more difficult than Everest. As experts say, it is 10 times as difficult as Everest. The most important thing for us is the result. Everyone must return to the base camp safe and sound.
After 6 days of exhausting journey, we reach base camp of K2.
Welcome to base camp!
Friends, there is one separate tent for each of you. Your belongings are near your tent. There is one bed in every tent. I believe my tent is like a luxury hotel room. Everybody is welcome. It's like the bed of the beds. It looks incredible. I have certain plans for this bed already.
Arno Tersakov, businessman, doctor of engineering. His first summit was Ararat in 2011. He has climbed Everest, and his dream is to burst into tears on the top of K2. He takes the Armenian flag with him to all the mountains. In case of a successful ascent, he will be the first Armenian to climb K2.
Only our expedition has beds. The leaders of other expeditions come here and see them. They say, "Oh, next year I will use the beds too." I'm sure they will. But I believe if one wants to be successful, he must always be one step ahead. Abramov is out of his mind.
Dmitry Moskalev is the current president of the Moscow Mountaineering Federation. He has received the Snow Leopard title. He has over 200 ascents under his belt, including 3 8,000ers. He has been practicing mountaineering for more than 45 years. He was the second in Russia to complete the 7 Summits program, and he is a mountaineering instructor of the second category. There are 8 expeditions at the foot of K2 at the moment. Almost 200 people, clients, guides, and Sherpas are going to climb the summit. Our camp is the biggest one. There are 20 tents for the participants, a dining room, a doctor's office, which is also used as a treatment room, a film crew headquarters, a bathhouse, a yoga tent, and even a separate camp for Sherpas and porters with its own kitchen and dining room.
We've been walking for a long time, and now we are eager to start climbing up.
Maria Oglobleva and Ekaterina Safronova are twin sisters. They are masters of sports in synchronized swimming. They go to the mountains only together. In September 2022, they made the first and so far the only high-speed race to the Himalayan 8,000er Manaslu. To go to K2, they sold their cars. They are the only ones from the whole expedition who have never climbed Everest and who have never climbed the mountains as a part of a large team.
I wish we would go tomorrow.
Do you really think so?
We're going to discuss it now. I don't feel like sitting here. I want to bathe today and set off tomorrow.
Stop making a fuss and relax.
Of course we won't. A shower is the most important thing for me now. They haven't shown us the shower.
The base camp is going to be the home for the expedition members, at least for the next 45 days. The altitude is over 5,000 meters, which is almost the height of Mount Elbrus. And freezing cold temperatures and lack of usual comfort do not contribute to adaptation to hypoxia. That is why Abramov tried to do his best to make it possible to have a good rest in the camp between trips to the mountain. A snowstorm, zero visibility, a significant drop in temperature, wind with gusts of more than 160 kilometers per hour. This is what an abrupt deterioration of the weather looks like. It has already resulted in tragedies with numerous victims many times. As at February 2021, 377 people climbed K2. 91 climbers died. The death toll was 4 to 1. But in 2022, an inexplicable miracle happened. During one summer season, 190 people climbed the summit. What is interesting, more than 100 in one day. The weather was fine. It is unlikely to happen again for the second year in a row. When it comes to climbing K2, one should always take into consideration such hazard as changeable weather. So K2 has a nickname, Capricious Mountain. Sunny and clear weather doesn't last more than 3 to 4 days, and the ascent usually takes 5 to 6 days. As a result, you get an inevitable lottery game. Sergei Bogomolov has already lost this lottery many times. Only one of his 4 attempts to climb K2 failed because of the team's health condition. Another 3 attempts failed due to bad weather.
I failed to overcome the weather, while it exhibited its different features.
Sergei Bogomolov was born in 1951. He is a legendary Russian mountaineer. He has received the title Snow Leopard 4 times. He is a master of sports of the USSR of international class. He has made more than 350 ascents, 60 of which of the highest category of difficulty. He has more than 20 pioneer ascents and 28 7,000ers under his belt.
You know, I consider this mountain scary, and to some extent I'm afraid of it, but I forgot these thoughts when I agreed to take part in this expedition. Anyway, Sasha is here, and I realize that he is an experienced climber. I also have some experience, and hopefully we will manage everything together.
Lyudmila Korobeshko, the second guide of the expedition, she has climbed Everest 3 times. She is the first woman in Russia to complete the 7 Summits program. That is, she climbed 7 highest mountains on 7 continents. Moreover, she did it twice and set a world record among women for the time of the completion of the program. She is a wife of Alexander Abramov. In case of a successful ascent, they will become the first married couple on the top of K2.
Are you cold? No, of course. I've even unzipped my sleeping bag.
Alexander Abramov and Lyudmila Korobeshko decided not to delay the first acclimatization outing. And only after 1 day of their arrival to the base camp, the participants set off to ABC, an advanced base camp which is located at an altitude of 5,300 meters.
Today is July 1st. As they say, mountaineering is the best way to winter summer. Half of the group has fallen behind over there. It is better to stick together in such weather.
Let's wait for them.
They can stray off course.
Walking together at the same pace is not as easy as it might seem. It's obvious that it is difficult to walk at a speed that is higher than yours, but it's not easy to walk at a speed that is lower than yours either. You constantly restrain yourself. Both psychologically and physically, your muscles don't work in a proper way, and you are short of breath. And if you stand and wait, you start to freeze.
It's not easy for us to walk with a team. Firstly, we're used to walking alone. When we walk, we don't disturb each other. We walk really fast and at our own comfortable pace. We don't have to stop to drink some tea or grab a snack. And if we stop, we do it when we really need it.
Different speed of the participants could lead to a conflict, but the group has managed to stick together so far.
We've come to the advanced base camp. If you look over there, you will see our route to K2.
Our team will go to the summit along the classic route called the Abruzzi Rib. It was named after Italian Duke Abruzzi, who in 1909, after an unsuccessful attempt to climb it, declared that the peak would remain unconquered, and his statement had remained true for 45 years, until his compatriots proved the opposite, and the route was named in honor of Duke Abruzzi.
We will go along the border of snow and rocks, like you can see here, then further into the fog. This is the most gentle part of our route. After that, we will have to climb rocks of different difficulty, ice, snow, and avalanche-prone slopes.
There are 11 routes on K2. Only the eastern slope of the mountain has not been conquered yet. It's all about the instability of its ice and snow structure. This fact makes Chagori the only 8,000er in the world, one slope of which has not been conquered yet. And the most difficult route that exists today on the Western Wall was laid out by the Russian team. This is the western wall of K2, a huge, rocky, inaccessible structure. You see that there is almost no snow on it. It means that the steepness of the slope is more than 60 degrees. In 2007, Viktor Kozlov's expedition laid out a route on the western slope without any extra oxygen and Sherpas' help, which took them 3 months. Today it is considered to be the most dangerous and the most difficult route, and I dare to assure you that it will retain its title.
There were 13 people in our group, 9 of which reached the top. It is considered a good result. Our actions were really well coordinated. The route was quite difficult. Polish and Japanese climbers had several attempts, but they managed only 1/3 of the route. But the most difficult part was the middle of the route. It is rocky and quite steep, and you had to hang from the rope and wonder whether you would manage it or not. Thank heaven we were lucky and there were no accidents. I put it down to the fact that basically all the members of the team were professionals. Sergey has come to the spot where he hasn't been for 13 or 7 years. How long haven't you been here? Since 2009. What really surprises me is that nothing has changed at all here. We had our tents right here. I feel like I have never left this place, so I have returned back home. There's one mountain I can't climb. That's why I am here for the 5th time. The answer is simple and clear. It is going to be my 5th attempt. Now we are going to have a 15-minute rest and have some tea. Then we will start our descent.
Besides ABC, 4 more camps will be set up on the mountain. The group will have 2 more acclimatization outings. The first one at an altitude of 6,100 meters and the second one at an altitude of 6,600 meters. The climbers will stay overnight in each of them. This is the best way for the body to adapt to the altitude. At the base camp, they are preparing a surprise for the members of the group. Abramov decided to treat them to pizza. It is a real challenge to cook it at such altitude. The cooks devised a sophisticated method and baked some pizza in a makeshift oven.
How was your walk?
It was incredible. The views are astonishing. I have already too, I felt like if I were in the abyss. You can see snow all around you. It looks like white silence described by Jack London. How is your group, Alex? It is great, friendly, and close-knit. We almost didn't argue today. All in all, it was a great day. How did it happen that the girls did not run ahead?
They usually ran ahead on the track.
I told you we almost but didn't argue at all.
To tell you the truth, we expected you to get ahead. It was a surprise for us that you remained with the team. Oh, it's a sore subject. Actually, we are incompatible with Alexander. I told him everything I think about it, and he did the same. He said that he would provide us with 2 Sherpas so that we could walk without the group. We'd rather die than walk in a crowd like nice girls. We don't go to the mountains to admire the beauty of nature. We go to the mountains to achieve our goal. We just climb the top. Then we get down and don't waste our time for the rest.
Do you have any complaints about Abramov? Do you have any complaints? Express them right now before lunchtime. No complaints, everything has been properly planned. Abramov is a brick. He has done everything perfectly well. If I were in his shoes, I would do everything in the same way.
If there is a team, why does everyone focus on its slowest part? I don't really understand it, as I am also a part of the team. We don't ask everyone to focus on us, do we? Let's do it in turn. I mean, today we focus on the slow part of the team, and tomorrow on the quick one. We have cooked some pizza.
With this pizza, Abramov has sweetened the bitter pill. After dinner, he gave the sisters an ultimatum. Either they stick to the group and walk at the same pace, or sign the documents on leaving the expedition, which means that they decide themselves when to go out, what to eat, and where to sleep.
We are without support now. In short, they told us to fuck. There is such thing as a dialogue. I don't accept such thing as my word is law.
You must follow my instructions and do what I say.
Okay.
Our expedition like a train. You bought a ticket and you're riding on this train.
I don't want to freeze my ass here, that's it.
Put on warmer clothes.
Are you kidding me? I want to walk at my own pace.
I've organized 25 expeditions so far. This is the first time I have two such girls who want to do everything differently from everyone else.
Girls with 8,000ers under their belts will never go with you.
You are one of them, aren't you?
Believe me, Alexander has such an effect on me, as he is a person who can't hear different opinion. Let me write a refusal now.
Don't do it now. Let's get some
I want to walk
sleep.
according to my plan starting from tomorrow.
Well, if you want to hire two Sherpas now, look for them wherever you want.
I don't need anything from you, believe me.
Then cook your meals yourself.
You know they are just women. Maybe you should be really more gentle with them.
Finally, Lyudmila Korobeshko saved the day. She suggested the sisters a compromise. They will follow the expedition plan and go out together with other members of the team. But at the same time, they will go at their own pace, so as not to freeze. The sisters agreed, but the next outing will show whether the suggestion was good or not. In the morning, the twin sisters joined the ice climbing practice. The quarrel that had taken place before was forgotten by everyone. Masha and Katya were nicknamed squirrels because of their speed. Professional mountaineers have the technique of movement that is entirely automatic. And it is not surprising, inasmuch as professional climbers go to the mountains regularly, 5 or 7 times a year, or even more.
It's hot.
But if you're a commercial customer, you have to remember the technique all over again every time. In 1902, an English team came to conquer K2, even though they did not have any mountaineering equipment in the classic modern sense of the word. Nevertheless, they climbed up to 6,525 meters, and on returning home, one of the expedition members, Oscar Eckenstein, invented crampons and an ice axe, without which mountaineering is impossible today. The history of crampons began long before the history of mountaineering. Something similar was used by Celtic miners, spies of ancient Rome, medieval Swiss army, and even European hunters to move safely in places with rough terrain. But it was Oscar Eckenstein who adapted them for mountaineers. He made the crampons light and strong, and most importantly, tightly fitted to the boot. The crampons were so effective that the first ice competition in speed climbing was won by Alphonse Chenos, the only climber to use them.
My sports life consists of 3 or 4 workouts a week. And while preparing for K2, I intensified them a bit. by practicing at least 4 times a week. In addition, I walked along the sea dunes at the weekend with a 20-kilo bag. When I have a chance, I try to do sports, practice swimming, go to the gym, do morning exercises, or just walk during the day, covering the distance of at least 10 kilometers. It doesn't matter where I walk. It can be an office building, a factory, or just street.
Daniel Brimmen. As a child, he practiced rock climbing and has been going to the mountains since he was 35. Everest is the only 8,000er under his belt. He is a businessman, married, a father of 3 children, believes that such expeditions are a way of self-education.
I bought a hand gripper and trained a lot to improve my grip strength. I didn't use to do this exercise, but now I have been practicing it for several months. I do it everywhere, at home, in the kitchen, in my bedroom, just everywhere.
Valery Tebyev, businessman, calls himself a mountain tourist. He has been interested in mountaineering since 2007. He has climbed 16 peaks, including Everest. In the past, he was a professional parachutist, won 3rd place at the Russian Cup. In case of a successful ascent, he will become the first Ossetian to climb K2.
My mother passed away 42 days ago. She had been ill for the last few months before she passed away. So naturally, I worried about her and didn't want to go to the mountains knowing that she was sick. After her death, I thought to myself that Mom allowed me to go to the mountains, or at least I wouldn't worry about her.
Today, everyone gets so-called the first touch of the mountain. The plan is to get from the base camp to the advanced base camp and to stay there overnight. Then to start climbing up at 4 a.m. The goal is the camp at an altitude 6,100 meters. And this outing will display how each member of the team copes with the route. And the team will finally get acquainted their Sherpa guides who will accompany them all the way up to the summit. No commercial expedition can do without the help of Nepalese Sherpas. They should not be confused with Pakistani porters. The porters carry the load up the mountain, while the Sherpas walk alongside the client and keep him safe.
Historically, it is the Sherpas who have been doing all work on 8,000ers since the 50s, or even the 20s of the last century. They have been doing it for more than a century. Their great-grandfathers, grandfathers, and fathers worked as porters for the Brits. They were born in the mountains near Everest and Nepalese 8,000ers. And they work a lot here. They install fixed ropes and are really adept with ropes and mountain gear.
By the way, every climber must also leave a tip for his Sherpa, the so-called summit bonus, $3,500. And there's an unwritten rule among mountaineers to pay them, even if you fail to reach the summit. The Pakistani government regularly increased the price for the permission to climb the mountain. Today, it's $12,000. This is at least $1,000 more than the Everest permit. So we have the right to say that today, K2 is also the most expensive mountain in the world. The final price of the expedition exceeds $85,000.
The weather is really nasty. There is a blizzard. The visibility is 0. It has been snowing all night, and there's a danger of avalanche.
The Sherpas have just woken up. Can you hear them shouting over there? They are full of joy.
Why are they full of joy?
Because Sherpas are always happy when they go up to the mountains. They have chosen the best weather for acclimatization, snowy and windy. They don't want us to relax.
Katya, Masha.
Girls, please set off.
The guides kept their promise and let the 2 sisters to walk at their own pace, which was much faster than the pace of the rest of the group, and provided them with the fastest Sherpas. The 2 Sherpas happened to be brothers. Let's wait and see if 2 brothers and 2 sisters will be able to run up the mountainside and foot of the mountain at the same speed. The terrain of K2 is different from anything else that participants have experienced before. For example, the average slope angle of Everest is 30 degrees, like an escalator in the subway. On K2, the average slope angle is from 45 to 60 degrees. In addition, there's snow. It doesn't feel like soft flakes here. It is like icy dust, which flies at 60 kilometers per hour and cuts your face as if were needles.
There's a danger of avalanche, which can roll down at high speed.
Up to the first camp, you need to climb 800 meters vertically. It is approximately 4 hours of hard climbing.
It is really difficult to walk in loose snow.
Those who walk in the head of the group experience most difficulties. They are trailblazers. They have to make a trail on the slope with their feet upon a layer of snow.
The Sherpa made the trail first, and then I decided to do it myself, as it was impossible to follow his gigantic steps. And you just followed us.
It's physically demanding. The slope is very steep. It makes you tired, and you stop to take your breath. Pieces of ice, stones, and some other stuff constantly roll down the slope. The slope of the ridge is really very steep. You can't see anything below you. It's not easy to go to the mountains right after trekking.
Dmitry Moskalev and Sergei Bogomolov fell far behind the rest of the group. Of course, it is difficult for the oldest members of the group to keep up with the speed of the main group, so they stick together. It was decided before the ascent.
I am okay now, but it was a difficult morning as I slept badly, my blood pressure is high, my leg didn't perform properly. According to all parameters, my body is performing well. I feel really good. Sergei Bogomolov is 72 and you can't reverse time. Of course, he has tremendous experience, but aging of the body is inevitable.
Andrei Selivanov is the only doctor in the base camp. Specialization, resuscitator. He has been climbing mountains since 1983 and has made more than 250 ascents. Candidate Master of Sports in mountaineering. He took part in more than 100 rescue operations in the mountains.
And of course, Dima Moskalev. Your blood pressure is 160 to 110. I am not sure that it is connected with age, but nevertheless, he has a certain negative background in terms of his health condition.
Even on the plains, Dmitry has high blood pressure. A proverb, "The worst spoke in the cart breaks first," is a popular adage among mountaineers, and any health problem here turns into a deadly threat. Of course, I might lose my life here. Unfortunately, a lot of people in commercial mountaineering don't understand it. Even when they say that they fully realize everything, it's not true. They can't even imagine what will happen if they perish.
It was a really hard crossing. We've been walking for 5 hours. Where are we going? There are some tents there.
In order to have a rest, the participants got into the tents. What is interesting, the tents don't belong to them. The thing is that the slopes of K2 have very few gentle spots. It means that if you put up your tent before someone else does it, you sleep in your own tent. Our team didn't have time, and that's why they occupy the empty ones. Now, it is not a problem, because we, the group, needs just 15 minutes to get warm and take cover from the wind.
On Everest, such behavior is considered a kind of crime. You break into a tent, use a sleeping bag, eat and drink something that doesn't belong to you, and then you run away like a criminal. But in Pakistan, funnily enough, it's the opposite situation. I mean, such behavior here is not considered bad or criminal, but if the owner of the tent doesn't stay overnight, it's considered normal if you do it.
Despite falling rocks, snowfall, and strong winds, the participants do not want to stop there. It seems that they do not realize the treachery of this mountain, and as long as they have strength, they are going to keep climbing up.
How long do you think it will take you to get to Camp 1?
I will get there in 1 hour. Bogomolov and Moskalev in 2 hours. I think you can go out and walk till 12 o'clock. You have plenty of health. We have fallen behind you. I think we'll reach Camp 1, have a rest, and then go back down.
Sherpas have a deeper knowledge of the mountain and realize that the avalanche danger is growing every second. That is why they categorically refuse to go higher.
Our Sherpas are about to go on strike.
They heard that there is a plan to continue climbing. They say that the sun is going to
Warm the snow and it will trigger huge avalanches.
If everyone says the same thing, then you must climb down. There is no other option.
Okay, we will have a short rest and then go down.
Abramov is not going to argue with the Sherpas. He deliberately chose those who had already been to K2. That should make up for the fact that he and Luda weren't on it. The group starts a descent from the first camp. Sergei, Dmitry, and Alexander are still on the slope. The oldest members of the expedition have to take a decision whether to go up or start a descent.
I'm going down. I'll go up. There are 100 meters left. I can see you now. Sergei, it will take you minimum 1 hour to get there.
Taking into consideration the speed of Bogomolov and Moskalev, Abramov thinks it's better for them to turn around and start descending with the rest of the group.
Well, let's go down.
You can say that the mountain chases the climbers away. It blows them away with the wind. It chases them away with snow and stones from its ridge. K2 does not want to receive guests today.
The mountain is just awesome.
It's just beautiful. Wait, you haven't seen the mountain yet.
I was told that it is like this everywhere.
Hey, where's Valera? He's following me. Okay, that's great.
How's it going? The squirrels are tired.
Hi, how's it going? Well, we have been hanging there for 6 hours on the slope of 45 degrees without any possibility to have a rest. We were like monkeys hanging from the ropes.
I think we've experienced the worst possible weather, but it's okay.
I have just remembered the age at which people give up mountaineering. The last time you climbed K2, you were 58, and I'm already 59. I stop and ask myself a question, do I really need it? Acclimatization is generally very useful when it takes place in bad weather. Somehow people really benefit from it. It's better to experience bad weather during acclimatization. There is another omen among mountaineers. After nasty weather, you always have nice weather and vice versa. It's a well-known fact.
Let's check it, shall we?
I am ready.
Okay.
After this acclimatization outing, everyone finally realized where they have come. Now we need to regain our strength and hope that next time the mountain will be more hospitable.
96 oxygen. My experience of high altitude climbing shows that all difficulties were caused by altitude. For the first time in my life, I experienced great physical difficulties which are not caused by altitude.
I ask myself, what is the point of doing it? We should leave. You shouldn't ask such stupid questions. I agree with you. There's no answer to this question.
I knew that the mountain would be really challenging. Now I see that it is really so. But on the other hand, it is interesting. The harder, the better. In general, we have accomplished the task. It doesn't matter whether it was difficult or not. Now we need some rest. And according to the plan, we will have acclimatization on the altitude of 7,000 meters.
We are planning the second final acclimatization, but everything depends on the weather.
During the night, we got 20 centimeters of snow, and according to the forecast, the weather is going to be bad for 4 days. This means that everyone will have an unscheduled long rest, but we can finally bathe, arrange all our stuff, and speak with our loved ones. And then, wait for the next final acclimatized outing.
The desire to reach the top is really crazy. We are all a little bit crazy people here. Normal people are having their holidays on the beach. And people like us go and get upset because maybe they have not achieved what they wanted to achieve today. But we pull ourselves together and move forward.
This year, there is an abnormally high amount of precipitation on K2. For a week, everyone waited in the base camp until the weather settled down, and then waited again until the snow moved down the slope in the form of avalanches. Then there was the third acclimatization climb. It is the last one before climbing the top of K2. As you can see, the mountain tests not only courage, but also patience of all climbers. The task of this climb is to get to the second camp at an altitude of 6,600 meters. The first steps on the mountain slope make us realize at once that clear sky above K2 does not mean good weather at all. There's not a cloud in the sky, but the blizzard is raging and wind gusts raise fresh snow into the air.
The weather's really nasty today.
After a few hours, the wind starts to die down a bit, but the mountain continues to hold the line. The sun is shining on the slope, the snow is melting, and avalanches start to come down from all sides.
An avalanche from Broad Peak. Steepness of 70 degrees is less dangerous because the snow constantly comes down. The steepness of 15 to 20 degrees is practically safe because the snow lies there and just melts. But 45 degrees is the most critical for avalanches. It has refreshed and perked me up.
7 hours of fighting the wind, avalanches, and most importantly, yourself have passed. And there are 2 more days to survive. There are only 100 meters left to the first camp, but it will take us 2 hours to get there.
It's definitely difficult for me for obvious reasons. Age is age. Dima Moskalev says, it has nothing to do with my age, and the problem is in my head. Well, I can't see many 70-year-old climbers here.
Now, Sergei Bogomolov is the oldest climber on the mountain. And if he climbs the top, he will not only collect the crown of the earth, but also become the oldest climber on K2. At the moment, this record belongs to the Spaniard Carlos Soria Fontan, who climbed the top at the age of 65. It turned out that the participants lined up on the slope according to their age. The youngest ones are already near the first camp. The oldest ones are still in ABC camp. And Alexander Abramov, who is actually 59 years old, is halfway up. He hasn't decided yet whether he belongs to the youth or to the League of Honorable Gentlemen.
Let's move on. To tell you the truth, I am the last one. Don't tell anyone that Abramov is the last one. While I was slowly waking, I constantly tried to remember at what age the mountaineers usually retire. Because I thought that I would definitely not climb any 8,000ers at the age of 60. I will be the leader of the group, giving instructions to everyone, encouraging young climbers, and bossing around like a clever man. All our Sherpas are practically under 30 years old. They always climb up really fast and vigorously. Well, I walked slowly following them.
After 7 hours of grueling ascent, Katya, Masha, Arno, Valera, Danya, and Luda finally reached the camp. And they found out that the Sherpas were setting it up again. The day before, there was a big avalanche there. Some of the tents were torn, others were swept away into the abyss.
Well, frankly speaking, we are absolutely exhausted. In the Russian language, there is a proper word to describe our exhaustion, but I can't pronounce it out of decency.
We are trying to find a toilet.
The camps on K2 look like swallow nests stuck to the rocks. And even such trivial everyday activity like going to the toilet poses a threat to life. When leaving the tent, you always have to fasten yourself to a safety rope to avoid falling down. For women, it is more difficult than for men.
Oh, someone has already urinated here. It is a good idea to use safety equipment or at least a rope. It would be ridiculous to die during your attempt to go to the toilet. I wonder how I will get back. I'll think I will switch off the camera now.
Sleeping here is no less extreme than the climb itself, and it's not just mountain sickness. The feeling of constant threat prevents you from falling asleep because an avalanche or a rock slide can fall any moment, and your tent can easily slide down into the abyss with you.
I'm not afraid of death. I have had peculiar relationships with it for a long time. I don't seek death, but I'm not afraid of it either.
Dmitry Moskalev lost one of his closest people during a climb in 2001. But despite this, he did not give up mountaineering.
You asked me why I didn't stop going to the mountains after my own son had died in the mountains. He died in front of me. When they say time heals, I can say it doesn't. You just get used to time. Eventually you learn how to live with the situation. It's just the ability to live, but it's not treatment. Why haven't I stopped going to the mountains? The lyrics of one song sound like this. We must hold the ice axe, because otherwise the death of our friends would be meaningless. I greatly appreciate my wife, who is a very emotional person, for her wisdom not to blame me for the death of our son. That's why we are still together. That's why I go to the mountains. For me, it is also a kind of... Sorry. For me, it is also a kind of meeting with my loved ones. If humans have souls, I feel I am connecting with it here.
Mountaineers know the price they can pay for climbing. Memorials to the dead at the foot of every mountain remind them of it. There is one on K2. The remains of bodies are often swept down the mountain by avalanches. They are found and brought here, and by clothes and other personal belongings, they determine to whom the body belonged. And in memory of the dead, they make engraving on what is at hand in any expedition. Most often, it is a simple stainless steel plate or a tray. They dangle and rattle in the wind. They say that this is the sound of the souls of those who have died here. Frankly speaking, the statistics of K2 is terrifying. It is 4 to 1. It means that out of 4 climbers, 1 climber dies.
My family thinks I'm crazy. My main opponent is my father, who after every expedition asks me the same question. I hope it was the last time. I answer him honestly that it is definitely not the last one. And I want to go to the mountains because I really enjoy it. Well, it's better to ask my wife this question. She has been asked it 1 million times, and all her friends and acquaintances gave her advice. Let him choose between you and mountains. My wife said, I know that he will choose the mountains. My family, as well as my relatives and friends, really don't like it. It annoys them. Because everyone was 100% sure that after my climbing Everest, I would settle down and stop going to the mountains.
The morning on K2 starts not only with a cup of coffee, but also with avalanches that keep falling all over the Karakoram Range. The wind has died down and the sun is melting the snow even faster, upsetting the balance of the slope. It turned out that it is much more difficult to climb in hot weather than in cold one.
It's harder today than yesterday. I don't know why. Maybe it is because of the heat. Maybe it is because of the altitude.
Lyudmila Korobeshko is a professional mountaineer and expedition guide. But despite this, she adapts badly to hypoxia.
Actually, altitude is a real strain for my body, but I forget about it all the time. When I go to some high-altitude expedition, especially after a long break, at an altitude of 5,000 meters, my saturation can be 60 or even 50. It is really low. I realize it's not the main indicator, and doctors and Andrei Selivanov support this idea. I agree with them and encourage myself with this idea. It is not so important. What really matters is my acclimatize, which is very slow and quite hard. We are moving like snails. The only thing left is to get to our destination.
The heat in the mountains is as dangerous as the cold. The ozone layer is thinner here than on the plain, which means that the level of solar radiation is much higher. Without sunscreen, the skin instantly gets burns, and without glasses, the eyes get burns. But the main enemy of a mountaineer walking in such weather is dehydration. The human water cycle is different from the water cycle in nature. We lose a lot of moisture through breathing during intensive exercises. In the mountains, they drink meltwater. It is devoid of salts, which leads to a disruption of the water-salt balance, resulting in the risk of dehydration. Drink plenty of water, add isotonics into it, and make sure to wear a buff. It will protect your neck and throat from the cold. Also, in the mountains, it is more dangerous to sweat than to freeze, so zip and unzip your ventilation zippers on time. In short, take care of yourself as much as possible.
Now wait a minute.
There are many rocky sites when you approach the second camp. And when climbers scramble over them, they inevitably drop rocks on the heads of those who are below them.
Frankly speaking, it is very scary because there are about 100 people climbing up. If each person throws at least one stone, a pile of stones fall down on your head. Between Camp 1 and ABC, a stone hit me. The rock hit me just unexpectedly. I just felt the hit in the upper part of my arm below my shoulder. It hurt for a second, but then I forgot about pain. I put it down either to exhaustion or to the rush of adrenaline. One day, a rock the size of a walnut hit my helmet. But once a rock the size of my head flew at high speed 50 centimeters from me. I was standing with my back to it. Basically, it's a situation when you are absolutely vulnerable. It looks like a glove, isn't it? No, it's a stone. Most 8,000ers have smoother terrain the closer you are to its top. But this is not the case with K2. There will be several completely vertical slopes on the way to its top.
Oh, fuck.
The first one is just near the second camp, a real cascade of vertical walls.
Oh my God, there are loose stones here. There's no hope.
I basically thought that it would be fucking difficult. Sorry, I mean really difficult. But I didn't think it would be so difficult. In general, everything is like in the mountains. That's why we are here. After this experience, any metal bed will feel like a royal feather bed.
Every year, more and more climbers come to K2, but the space for tents doesn't in-reese on the mountain. 3 or 4 people have to sleep in one tent at the same time, and due to the slope, they roll down on each other. The male part of our expedition is less fortunate, as they all are taller than 180 centimeters.
Do you feel like climbing up today so that we could go down tomorrow?
The second camp is located at the foot of a huge vertical rock. This is a famous chimney, a place that frightens every climber of K2. Although climbing it does not affect acclimatization from the physiological point of view, all the participants want to climb it for psychological reasons. They want to conquer it to overcome their fears before the final ascent. Daniel Brimman doubts whether it is worth wasting energy climbing the chimney or whether it is better to save energy and stay in the camp.
You know, sometimes a 2-hour nap is better than to make a difficult climb and use the rest of your energy. A real height difference here is 100 meters, but I think this climb will take all their energy.
The chimney is about 25 meters high, higher than a 5-story building. To overcome it, you literally need to cling to bare rocks with the spikes of your crampons and pull yourself up with your hands. And all this at an altitude of 6,600 meters.
On one side, there is a metal ladder, which you can't climb on. It's about 15 centimeters wide. But you can hold on to it with your hand. And with a jumar in your other hand, pull your body up the ladder using your legs at the same time.
The speed of the sisters is amazing. They literally fly up a vertical wall. They owe their strength and stamina while experiencing hypoxia to synchronized swimming, which has accustomed them to great physical exertion while holding their breath.
We've been practicing sport for many years. I put it down to this fact. In addition, a small body doesn't require a lot of oxygen. Compared to guys who are 2 meters tall, we probably need less oxygen. Good. How beautiful is it? Incredible chimney, isn't it? Yeah. I think people have been impressed. I mean, we have finally seen some parts of the technical difficulties waiting us further. I believe it's the first real challenge. Because the Black Pyramid is another challenge on our way up, which we are going to experience near the third camp.
After spending the night at the second camp, the group starts to descend. But Bogomolov and Moskalev continue their ascent. And, contrary to the expectations of many members of the group, they manage to climb the second camp and conquer the Chimney.
I feel hot.
Colossal experience and perfected mountaineering technique did not lose to youth and physical strength this time.
It's not my first experience.
Everyone wants to get to the base camp as soon as possible. They have less strength but more rocks falling down on them. During the descent, we have to play Russian roulette and turn our backs to the falling rocks. It is not safe, but it is fast. There is another option, to go down with your face to the mountain. It allows you to control the situation, but this method is much slower.
Fuck. I don't really care about the camera. What I really want is to stay alive during the ascent. But you want to shoot a film in such conditions. I think the documentary Gene 1 was a walk in the park in comparison with this film. The conditions are absolutely different here. A rock might hit my head any second. Then, you will not have an actor for your film, will you?
Acclimatization is completed, and everyone returned to the base camp. Next time, they will climb the top of the mountain.
Welcome to Masha Kasha! Yes, come!
My foot got into a crevasse on my way here, thanks God. It was only 1 foot. It is wet now.
What surprises me here is that avalanches come down even at night. I thought everything would freeze, but something has been falling down all night.
Almost everyone got minor injuries and bruises from falling rocks. Unfortunately, not everyone got off easy. A porter from our team fell down while lifting ropes and oxygen tanks and was seriously injured.
He has broken, Andre, has he broken his spines? Well, a fracture of neural spines. The third and fourth ones of his lumbar spine. Maybe the fifth one.
Porter Zakir Hussein will now be unable to lift anything heavy for a long time, and every step will hurt him, which means he's unemployed, and he will not get the money that his family had hoped to live on for a year until the next climbing season. In addition, the Pakistani company that hired him did not provide health insurance for their employees, which means he will not be evacuated by helicopter and will have to climb down on foot.
Military field surgery.
Since the first day of the expedition, Dr. Selivanov has been really busy. Every day he has 10 to 12 patients.
Our expedition is the only one that has a doctor this year. That is why the whole camp, over 150 people, are consulting with Andre.
The bulk of his patients are Pakistanis who do not miss a chance to get free medical care and medicines. But foreign climbers also regularly go to see Dr. Andrei Selivanov.
Thank you.
Complaints range from symptoms of SARS to depression, from upset stomach to frostbite on toes and fingers. There are also unusual cases. An abscess after an insect bite, tooth extraction, and even acute psychosis, because of which a person had to be evacuated to the plane. In spite of overcast weather, there are cases of sunburns.
Even though the weather in the mountains is so foggy, snowy, and rainy like today, ultraviolet radiation exists and poses a threat to climbers. One should definitely use the sunscreen as often as possible. The weather's incredible today. I can breathe easily. I hope my nose will not get sunburnt and peel.
Waiting for the final climb can be delayed. In spite of the good weather, you can't set off until the fixed ropes are installed along the whole route. And unlike Everest, there is no separate team on K2 to do this job. It means that all expeditions have to chip in for workers and equipment, but the leaders can't come to an agreement.
Oh, we can give 2-3 Pakistani, so we can do.
No, we need Sherpa, at least one.
Sorry.
They asked me to give them 2 Sherpas, but I realized that we have 12 Sherpas for 12 participants. And I said with a stone face that I would give 3 Pakistanis. They began to explain me that 3 Pakistani wouldn't do the job of 2 Sherpas. I said, yes, 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 yes. 3 Pakistanis, yes, yes, yes.
In all expeditions, Sherpas are hired according to the number of clients, and we have no people that can be sent to do the job. So the participants must have patience and wait until the expedition leaders come to an agreement before the weather window closes.
What else can we do here? We can bathe, eat, and also wash our clothes. That's all.
If you don't really feel like washing your clothes in icy water, you can give them to the kitchen boys. The price is standard, $5 per bag, and it doesn't matter whether you have a small or large bag. Clothes will then be dried on the stones, and bear in mind that they will have a slight smell of petrol because the water was heated on burners. By the way, the tea here has the same smell. To diversify the meager menu and kill the time while waiting for the final ascent, the female part of the expedition decided to take over the kitchen. For Pakistanis, it is a real culinary show with an exotic combination of ingredients. And for our men, it is their favorite home-cooked food that everyone misses.
Mimosa salad. And this is pasta with bolognese sauce.
Wow, are you crazy?
Thank you.
Okay, you can sit down.
The expedition leaders have not been able to come to an agreement for 3 days already, and our heroes are already literally sitting on their suitcases, or to be more precise, on their backpacks. A mountaineer's backpack, if he does not use the help of Sherpas and carries everything himself, weighs 20 kilograms. Our climbers' backpacks are twice as light and weigh 10 kilograms. Each backpack contains an oxygen tank and a spare mask with a regulator, which weigh 4.5 kilograms.
I have got everything I need here. A pair of sunglasses is a must. They're in the box. 2 knee pads in case your knees start to hurt. A helmet, goggles, hygiene supplies, and sunscreen. Yeah, raisins, nuts, dried apricots. Is it sunny outside? Not yet, but it seems like it is going to be sunny. Okay, I got it.
It's a sort of entertainment. We are braiding each other's hair.
Well, what has Abramov said? How long are we going to stay here?
You know, I guess Abramov is ready to. Alexander feels like climbing up already.
Mountaineering is also about patience. You have to adapt to the conditions you have. It's tiring, of course, but what can you do? One can read a book or sleep. As one song goes, he who kills time will be killed by time. I don't kill time. There are things I'd like to do, something that I plan to do. So I do these things here. I read a book as long as I can. I've got some really interesting documentaries. Counting stars is the only thing we can do. Predict the weather by the stars.
The climbing season on K2 is rapidly coming to an end, and this fact makes absolutely all members of the expedition nervous. The winter season will officially begin in 2 weeks on the 10th of August, but this year, judging by the weather forecast, winter may come even earlier.
In Pakistan, the monsoon season starts in August. If we don't get to the top by the 27th or 28th of July, we can start packing our bags now and go down.
We should underline that the winter ascent is much more difficult than the summer one. In winter, the fasteners of the crampons burst due to the low temperatures. Avalanches and gusts of wind over 100 kilometers per hour are common things here. The list of difficulties goes on and on. In short, the chances of a successful ascent are practically zero. Until January 2021, K2 had remained the only 8,000er unconquered in winter season. On the 16th of January, the team of Nepalese climbers, headed by Nims Puja, climbed the summit and returned back safe and sound in full force. Nims had become a legend of modern mountaineering even before climbing K2 in winter season. In 2019, he set an amazing record by collecting the crown of the earth in an incredibly short time, in 6 months and 6 days.
I'm the only person in the world who has never failed any attempt, so 40 out of 40. Right now, I'm the fastest person to climb all the 8,000 meter peak of Pakistan without oxygen. I break the record of people, who is climbing with oxygen. And it's just to show the proof that, what things could be done on the mountain, But I'm always glad that I've been able to be a ground record-breaking mountaineer, so yeah.
Finally, after a week of discussions, the leaders of the groups managed to come to an agreement. But the weather has deteriorated already. It's not reasonable to wait for a new weather window, as the climbing season will be over and all their efforts will be all for nothing. So it was decided to follow behind the rope team in hope that the weather window will open just when the climbers reach the upper camps.
On the one hand, it is strange and risky, but we had to make this decision because we realized that the weather window was going to be very short.
Since there are not enough tents for everyone at the intermediate camps, the expedition was divided into 3 groups. They will all set off with a difference of 1 day. The honorable gentlemen, Dmitry Moskalev and Sergei Bogomolov, will go first.
You're like an icebreaker. We go and you follow us, right? We follow you. If you forget something, just call us. We will deliver it to you.
Is that enough, or should I give you more? Give some more, just in case. Okay. I'm happy we begin our ascent.
Take care of yourselves.
Goodbye, guys.
Well, let's go.
Well, Godspeed.
See you in a week.
Climbing the world's most difficult mountain begins with many unpredictable things. Will the Sherpas be able to install the ropes in time? Will the weather improve and will the mountain let them climb it? As usual, only time will give the answers to these questions, and judging by mountaineering experience, there's not much time left. So far, everything is going according to plan. All 3 groups have climbed the planned heights.
Dull weather has met us at ABC.
We are leaving tomorrow early in the morning, and we'll move to the 3rd camp.
Gonna be a problem for us.
But the next day, no one was able to continue moving up. The Sherpas did not install the ropes because of strong wind and snow.
Things are not going according to plan. We've been lying here for half a day and doing nothing. Because the team of lazy people doesn't want to install the ropes for us.
Our perspective is not clear. Forecasts vary. And there is a paradox. Last year, 180 people climbed the mountain, and this year, this number can be 0.
There were seasons on K2 when no climber reached the top. The weather didn't allow it. This season may become the same.
Well, what can I say? It's the second day we've been staying in the ABC. It's getting dark.
We need to get in touch with the rope team to find out the situation up there.
Altitude 6,550. Still second camp.
Those who have stuck at an altitude of 6,600 meters are in the worst position. At this altitude, the body does not recover at all. It uses only its internal reserves, and therefore the chance to reach the top decreases literally every hour.
We can stay here for another 3 to 4 days. Then we'll just run out of gas and food. We save food. We have 1 meal a day, splitting a packet for 2 people. The situation is quite complicated, and I'm concerned about the girls' reaction. I mean, I am not afraid that they will get upset, but that they will start accusing us of incompetence or something else. They can say that we did not do this, didn't provide that, didn't anticipate that, and so on.
On the 4th day of waiting, the weather improved, and the Sherpas climbed up. Finally, everyone could continue moving up.
I should have filmed how you were coughing and tossing and turning all night. We're going to Camp 3 today. The weather forecast was bad, but thanks God it was incorrect, so there is a chance that we will start climbing up.
The difference in height is approximately 800 meters. We are going to start working, and we are capable of doing the job. What is really important is that visibility is good. As Ilinsky says, I can already see the top, so what the hell you're waiting for?
The first group is going to experience the most difficult climb with a lot of sheer cliffs. First, you have to overcome a familiar chimney, and after it, a new challenge, the Black Pyramid. It is a huge rocky area, the height of which is twice as high as the famous pyramids in Giza. Several hours of exhausting ascent are ahead of them.
We've come up the Black Pyramid.
The team is already climbing up using oxygen tanks, but even oxygen tanks can't compensate for the long stay at high altitude. Everyone has spent a lot of energy. Especially Bogomolov and Moskalev, who spent one more night on the mountain than others.
You know, Volodya, it's so difficult. I can see it. We stayed on this altitude for quite a long time, and we had no appetite at all. How can one live on just some porridge in the morning, a bit of a pat in the afternoon, and a bit of something in the evening? Obviously, it drains and exhausts your body. Come on, great. Look here, you take 4 to 5 breaths after each step. This is our pace.
It's simple math. In mountaineering, each altitude has time standards which show how much time you're supposed to spend to cover 100 meters. At an altitude of 7,000 meters, it is 100 meters per hour. Sergei Bogomolov is moving twice as slow. It means that his chances to reach the top of the mountain are twice less. The worst part of it is that another very important member of the expedition, Alexander Abramov, who is its leader, has some doubts whether he will have enough strength for the ascent.
I have been coughing really badly all night. It feels like my lungs are... It feels like my lungs are clogged with something. It's very difficult and slow. My inner voice tells me that I should stop the ascent. Abramov, come in.
I have just finished the climb.
There's no craving at all. Well, it doesn't look like proper climbing. I know my abilities,
But the pace is really slow.
I am climbing using oxygen like other climbers. I believe my
Pace is not good enough to continue the climb.
I decided to stop the ascent and return back. It seems that a man has his own physiological limits. And it was the right decision when I gave up climbing in 2015. I hoped that the ropes and the oxygen would facilitate the conditions. But human physiology doesn't work this way. The program of 14 8,000ers is open. Go for it. Give my regards to everyone. Don't get me wrong. Sergey, you're the best. I'm proud of you, proud to walk beside you and get to this point.
The legendary mountaineer's fifth attempt to climb K2 has come to an end. Sergey Bogomolov failed to collect the crown of the earth. Now, Alina Pekova from Kabardino-Balkaria is closer to this title than all our compatriots. This young climber is trying to conquer K2, but is a part of another group. Alina's first mountain was Elbrus in 2017. After that, she could not stop. She made ascent after ascent, gradually increasing the height and complexity of the mountains. And during the last 6 months, she has already climbed 6 8,000ers. Notably, she descended from the last summit, Broad Peak, only 4 days ago. K2 is going to be the 7th one.
I admit that the scariest thing about it is that you might not return home to hug your mom. That's the scariest thing.
If the rope team fails to install fixed ropes on time, it won't stop Alina. She can't miss K2. Moreover, she has already climbed some peaks as a free climber, using only crampons and ice axe. Sergey Bogomolov begins his descent, but he will not go alone. Alexander Abramov also decides to stop his ascent.
I am the head of the expedition, and it is necessary for me to make it successful. I need to make sure that there is enough oxygen and Sherpas up there. As I am ill, my presence there is not reasonable. Moreover, when I went down to base camp with Sergey, I found out that my temperature was nearly 38. That proved I was really ill and exhausted. If I had gone up to the third camp, probably I would not have come down. While walking, I constantly listened carefully to find out if there were gurgling sounds in my lungs. Because when pulmonary edema begins, it triggers brain edema very quickly.
Meanwhile, Katya and Masha reached the third camp. They did it in 6.5 hours, faster than anyone else. Dmitry Moskalev is moving much slower, and yet even without his companion, who was the main reason of his taking part in this expedition, Dmitry does not want to give up the idea of climbing K2. 10 hours of constant physical exertion at an altitude of 7,000 meters is a colossal test for strength and endurance, even for an absolutely healthy person. Dmitry is perfectly aware that his high blood pressure, combined with altitude and excessive strain, can result in fatal consequences.
I realized that no mountain in the world is worth even an amputated finger, not to mention a human life. And every time I went to the mountains, I wondered if I was crossing the Rubicon. And it seemed to me that I wasn't because I was working. Dima and I came to Camp 3.
Dmitry Moskalev has reached the third camp. The second group, Luda, Arno, Daniil, and Valera, are approaching the second camp.
Everything is good.
Finally, the Sherpas are going to install fixed ropes all the way up to the summit tonight. They also have to set up the fourth camp at the height of 7,800 meters. It's the assault camp.
It's snowing again. All the peaks are open, even the broad peak. You can see all the peaks clearly. There are some clouds over there. You can see all the peaks except K2.
It looks like K2 decided not to give up. The rope team never reached the top. They only managed to break a path in the layer of snow, 60 centimeters thick, and install the ropes up to the fourth camp. No one is going to set up tents for climbers there. There is neither time nor strength for that. After all, the Sherpas have been on the mountain for a week already, and the day after tomorrow the weather will finally deteriorate. One more overnight stay is too risky.
Either we will go up today, or we will go down tomorrow. There are no other options.
What does your inner voice tell you, to go or not to go?
We want to go, and I have enough strength to do it.
I just don't have the opportunities.
I see. I will repeat you once again the information I have. The ropes were not installed up to the top, and we are not sure whether it will be done or not.
What's next? Is that all? Is the expedition over?
Have we been here for a month and a half just for nothing?
Do you mean we are going back home?
I'm sick and tired of it. Turn off the camera. Well, you see, I have to guess whether the rope team will hang ropes today or not. If they haven't done it during the last 5 days, will they be able to do it today? I have no idea. The Sherpas have been on the mountain for more than a week, and they must go down. If Sherpas go down, you have to do the same. Moreover, I know that if the Sherpas go down, they will pack up and leave in 2 days. It doesn't matter whether you're going to pay them a summit bonus or not, as the installing team will also pack up and leave, and everyone will leave.
Arno, Danya, and Valera, accompanied by Luda, are making their way to the third camp practically in whiteout, in zero visibility.
Without a doubt, it is the toughest day in my climbing experience. There's no place neither to rest nor to drink tea, just slopes. You see some rock and think, I'm going to sit on it to take a breath. When you reach that rock, you realize that it is impossible to sit there. If you sit on the slope, you sit with your legs tucked under you and with your crampons against the slope. It's absolutely uncomfortable. Your legs don't relax a bit. You don't get much rest this way.
You can have a rest only at the camp. But when our second team reached it, the Sherpas announced unexpectedly that the team would not have a rest at all. That night, they were planning to climb the summit. Liuda's group was shocked by this news.
We didn't expect that. We came absolutely exhausted and lay down. We arranged to climb the summit after the rest. We had a plan, to go without a fourth camp, but first we had to rest. I managed to persuade everyone to accept my plan when suddenly we got the news, now or never. We were really shocked. Yes, I understand. Everyone is running because of some information not about a weather window, but rather about window leaf.
And everyone is trying to get through it. No one was ready for this night. It is kind of out of the blue.
No, Luda, don't go up this night.
Arrange 6 Sherpas for 5 people. I mean, you have 12 Sherpas
for 10 people. Of course, you won't be able to go today. You have to go tomorrow. If you start moving today, then go down.
Okay. We are staying here overnight, and tomorrow we will act according to the situation. If everybody goes down tomorrow, we will do the same. Maybe the weather will favor us, who knows? Anyway, we have no chances for success if we move this night. In shot, we're taking a risk. But on the other hand, we have no chance this night, so we'll rest and see what happens tomorrow.
That's it, it's time to go into space.
The distance between the third camp and the summit is 1,300 meters. It will take us 13 hours to get to the summit and 13 hours to get back. In total, we will have to work hard for more than 24 hours experiencing freezing cold temperatures and hypoxia. Rope team is leaving to install the ropes. Our first group, which has already spent the night in the third camp, is taking a risk by walking right behind the rope team. The rope team is moving slowly. The snow is deep and it takes time to fix each rope. If the rope is not fixed properly, a climber can fall off the mountain. Usually in the mountains, the most technically difficult parts of the route are at the bottom, and the closer you get to the top, the more gentle the terrain becomes. But on K2, it's the opposite. Difficulties increase with altitude. The most dangerous spot along the route is the bottleneck. There is a 100-meter high ice cliff and a lot of small seracs above you. One can't pass quickly under them, as the slope is very steep and you can fall off the mountain. The ideal time to pass this part of the route is 1 a.m., because due to low temperatures at night, the chances of falling ice are lower, and also you can't see the seracs clearly. It means you will be less scared. Usually at high altitudes they say, don't look down. Here they say, don't look up.
Dima, what is the altitude and why have we stopped?
Most of the tragedies on K2 happen right here, in the bottleneck. And right now, another tragedy is going on in front of our team.
It has just been reported up the chain that a Pakistani climber had just fallen off the mountain.
Muhammad Hassan, a porter of our expedition, has fallen off the trail and is hanging head down over the precipice. Sherpas are trying to pull him up and provide some oxygen for him. The situation is getting worse every minute. At this time, the climbers are waiting on the traverse in front of the bottleneck. Everything happens in the coldest hours of the night. Besides, this is the most dangerous place. If an avalanche comes down or the ice falls down, the scale of the tragedy will increase dramatically.
He's actually got a rather serious hypothermia. It's not freezing, it's hypothermia. It's when all the organs stop functioning. Well, when I saw him, I realized that nothing could help him. Even if by some miracle someone manages to take him down, he will inevitably die.
You can pull his body up, but what will you do next? Will you turn 120 people standing on the traverse around? It's not the situation when a traffic warden arrives and fixes the problem. It doesn't work this way here. Someone can say that it's sacrilege, and it is not right. But I was thinking about one thing, that while they were pulling one person out, 100 people were freezing in a line. To tell you the truth, I was anxious to finish that situation. I mean, it was clear to me that it was impossible to help that guy.
Hassan was finally pulled out, but it was too late. He died of hypothermia and shock. The climbers could continue climbing up only 2 hours later. There could have been more victims that night as 2 large avalanches came down upon the bottleneck. One of them covered some people down the slope. It was only by a miracle that they escaped death.
These 2 huge avalanches came down off the seracs at high speed and didn't hurt people. Only snow dust covered everybody. But still, it is scary to watch a string of lanterns disappearing after the avalanche.
The owners of these lanterns were lucky. They did not have time to climb higher, and only snow dust reached them. After this avalanche, many climbers turned around. But our climbers continue their way up. Now they are all united not only by the desire to reach the top, but also by fear. After the bottleneck, the participants reach the plateau near the summit. It is considered that when you reach this place, all the difficulties of the ascent are over. But it was at this very spot that 4 strongest Russian climbers died in the avalanche in 2006.
There's a persistent struggle with the mountain, with its rocks, snow, and wind. We are sick and tired of damn weather forecasts.
Sergei Bogomolov took part in that expedition and miraculously survived.
Nothing portended a disaster. The sun was shining, the summit was open, and it was 11:30 a.m. Perfect conditions for the ascent. I was thinking to myself, we'll finally make it. There is a God after all. And suddenly, I saw an avalanche coming down. It was the size of a soccer field, 40 to 50 centimeters thick. I stuck my ice axe into the slope, but not deep enough as the layer of snow was thin. I crouched down and waited for several minutes. Then, the avalanche buried us. When it was over, I found myself away from my ice axe, hanging on the safety rope.
Usually when an avalanche comes down, you can hear it clearly, but it was a so-called ice board, a special kind of avalanche. The snow compressed into the crust. It was a piece the size of 120 by 80 meters. It slipped inaudible down the slope, eliminating everyone in its path.
And most importantly, when it finished, I found snow even under my underwear. This snow dust gets everywhere, even under your skin. I began to remove the snow from my clothes. Suddenly, I realized that 4 climbers had disappeared. I could not work out what had happened.
The expedition was stopped. The survivors of the avalanche went down to look for their comrades, but without success. The expedition leader, Yuri Utashev, trainer Alexander Foykt, Pyotr Kuznetsov, and Arkady Kovakin remained on K2 forever.
Slowly but surely, we are moving towards the summit. We have caught up with the rope team.
The final ascent to the summit has lasted for 10 hours already.
You take 2 steps every 20 minutes because they cut steps in the snow. They try to move forward.
Usually this section of the route takes 40 minutes. But our climbers have been walking for almost 4 hours already. Lack of oxygen is a major hazard now. The climbers wasted a lot of time due to waiting in traffic jams on the mountain. Each of them has only 3 tanks of oxygen. If they run out of it before they get down below the altitude of 8,000 meters, another tragedy might occur. To save oxygen, our climbers are moving up, trying to minimize its consumption. They consume half a liter per minute, while the norm is 3 to 4 liters per hour. Some climbers stop climbing up and return back. They believe there's not enough oxygen on way back. It is a difficult decision, but it might save their lives.
Squirrels call the base camp. The squirrels are on the summit. Hooray!
Girls, I'm very happy for you. Please check out how much oxygen there's left and climb
Climb down as quickly as possible.
We got it.
Hooray, we have done it!
We will never know the name of the first Russian woman on K2 because Katya and Masha climbed the summit simultaneously. A few minutes later, they were joined by Alina Pekova. It is her 7th 8,000er. We could cautiously declare that mountaineering is gradually getting a female face.
Well, we have done it together.
Dmitry Moskalev has become the oldest Russian on K2. Dima has been climbing for 18 hours to the summit, so it is essential for him now to have enough oxygen to get back.
When people reach the summit, they're euphoric. But after that comes hard and monotonous work to save your physical body. Your spiritual body is already on the summit, but you have to drag your physical one down.
The members of the team were absolutely exhausted during the descent, and even simple actions required great strain. There were even some falls. Fortunately, they were not fatal. But they were a constant reminder that if you lose concentration, even for a minute, you can die. The bodies of those who remained on the mountain forever remind about it. The most difficult thing was to step over the dead body of the porter Mohammed Hassan, who had died several hours before. Dima Moskalev is at the brink of death during the descent. He ran out of oxygen.
How are you? My oxygen finished.
Dima sits without a mask and oxygen. I look at him and wonder what I should do. I realize that he is my fellow climber, and we have come here together. I realize that he is absolutely tired, as he has been there for more than 24 hours. And the camp is just 100 meters away from him. He can even see the camp. I wonder if I should give him my oxygen and stop the ascent. Morally, it was a really difficult moment for me. I saw Liuda contact the camp and understood that in 15 to 20 minutes, the Sherpas would come and bring some oxygen. It was an unsettling moment when you realize that your friend is suffering and you leave him to finish the ascent. Emotionally and morally, it was not easy.
The second group, led by Ludmila Korobeshko, is going for a decisive assault of the summit. Realizing that the weather window could close at any moment, they decided to take the risk. On the one hand, it was easier to walk along the well-trodden path, and there was no need to wait for the rope team. But on the other hand, they were practically alone on the mountain. And it only strengthens the feeling of victory over yourself, which the climbers experienced when they reached the top.
Hooray! We're about to conquer the summit in full force.
It was terribly hard, but we are here. The views are absolutely incredible here.
Arno Tersakov has become the first Armenian on the top of K2, and Valery Tebyev the first Ossetian.
We are on the summit of K2. It is incredible, but we have done it. I think it is the first summit in my life that has caused such strong emotions, and I even shed a few tears. Maybe because I was really afraid and anxious, but it seems that finally we succeeded. When I contacted Sasha on the radio, he congratulated me, and I was about to burst into tears, although I have never experienced such emotions on any other summit.
My dear Luda, I love you very much. You are a brick.
Enjoy every second of your success and start the descent carefully.
We can't stay here and enjoy our deserved victory for a long time. The team has already spent too much time on the summit, and they must get down before the weather window has not closed. The guys are the last to leave the summit.
Hi, Luda.
How are the climbers feeling themselves? Have all of them returned to Camp 3?
Not yet. Danila has not come.
Do you know where he is?
I don't know yet.
Well, is he going with Sherpa?
Yes.
The weather deteriorated as we had expected. Daniel Brman did not manage to get down to the third camp and got caught in a snowstorm. The rescue team has been looking for the climber and his Sherpa Dava for several hours already.
Dava! Dava! Do you copy?
So Daniel hasn't returned to the third camp yet, has he?
Daniel, Dava.
There is no radio contact with him and Sherpa as the radio is dead. There is a huge snow plateau before the third camp. This is the only section where there are no ropes. There are only marking poles every 100 to 150 meters. It's really dangerous to move with zero visibility. If you go the wrong way, you will fall into the precipice, which is from all sides here.
So I asked the Sherpa, Dava, what are we going to do? He says to me, I don't know. He sits down in the snow and sits for an hour, and I sit next to him. A wild blizzard was raging while we were sitting there. So I said to him, Dava, let's navigate by signs. So we began to move, and he used the wall and a mental map to find the way back. And for the next hour and a half, we looked for the marking poles. We succeeded, but it took us more than 3 hours instead of 15 minutes to cover the distance of 1 kilometer.
Danya managed to get down to the third camp, and the first thing he did was contact his wife.
Everything is okay, my ginger girl. I have done it. The mountain gave us as many challenges as it was possible. But I am safe and sound. Bye. Kiss you, darling.
It is probably the biggest challenge for me. It caused great anxiety because let me calm down. Why? Because they are the most important people for you. You can't let them down.
Thank you.
I admire you. Wait a bit. I have lost my balance.
Base camp. Only here you can truly feel safe. Congratulate your friends on the victory and realize that you are a winner. You will remember that I remarked at the beginning of the film that last year a miracle happened on K2 and 140 people climbed the peak in one day. And it would have been foolish to expect this miracle to happen again. But it did happen.
K2 has always been my lifelong dream, and I am not really sure whether the word dream can describe the real feelings and emotions I had experienced before climbing the summit. I breathed a sigh of relief when I got down, as I had constantly experienced anxiety and suspense during the climb.
Я, наверное, еще до конца не осознаю,
I guess I don't fully realize it. It might happen in a month or in a year. Such achievements give a kind of satisfaction. Now, you have something you can be proud of. Vanity is our favorite sin.
Could you say a couple of words?
It is worth climbing the summit. The whole process is like solving a Rubik's Cube. You wait, you prepare, you acclimatize. These are things our life consists of. We set our goals, we achieve them, and we rejoice that we managed to achieve them.
I am extremely grateful to this project, as without it, we would have never climbed K2. But for the project, we would have never dared to do it. We were convinced that it was for the professionals. But as it turned out, it is not only for professionals, but also for mountain tourists. Everything is real with proper preparation, determination, and motivation.
There are definitely many mountains in the world that are waiting for me. But I need to take a long break because K2 has worn my soul out. I understand that it is just fantasy. But if climbing a mountain was a kind of trophy, I would probably give this trophy to Sergei. It would make sense for him, for the country, and to a certain extent, it would be my gratitude. I don't think that I will try to climb K2 again in the foreseeable future. But who knows? Never say never. When people ask me, when will you give up mountaineering? I say, probably when I die. Because for me, it's not a sport, a hobby, or even a job. For me, it's just an infinite state of my soul. I mean, it's life itself.